Well, when we first posed this question, I was like, what do you mean work? Win a championship? No. Can they play together? Absolutely they can play together. You're talking about the two most skilled. I don't believe there's currently a pair of teammates that's more skilled offensively than these two that's currently playing together. You take KD and Book, you take Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, you take any two skilled offensive players. Show me two that's better than Kyrie and Luka.
KD and Book are better shooters.
Are they more
combined? Yeah. Combined.
Oh, better shooters. Yeah. But I'm talking about skill. Put the ball on the floor. Finish at the rim, either hand. Kyrie is good from mid-range, can shoot the Skip. His handles and finishing.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
I'm not.
And Luka's lane genius is unparalleled. I've never seen anything like it.
Skip, most nights they're not going to be this efficient. I mean, you look at the way they shot the ball last night. Kyrie was 15 of 22, 6 of 8 from 3. Luka was 13 of 22, 7 from 13 from 3. They're not normally this efficient. But when you put the efficiency together with the way they can put the ball in the basket, this is what you're going to get. Their problem is never going to be offensively because they got two guys that can go get you 40, 50, 60 in a given night. Can they stop anybody? Skip, they had a 27-point lead, and within like 5 or 6 minutes, the Sixers had
25 last night. They had 27 against,
and lost that one.
The Lakers.
Had a 25, and it got whittled down to 6 with still like 8 minutes to go in the game. And then Kyrie comes boom, boom. Luka goes boom, boom, and basically it ends the run. It ends the game. So, Skip, for me, I already knew they could play together because they're just too skilled offensively. They just have to find out, okay, let's get it. Go, okay, you need it over here. This is where you want it. This is let me do my thing. And Luka had it going. Hey, he deferred to Kyrie. Kyrie come down on the break. And you know a guy's feeling it. When he's coming down on a 1-on-3 fast break and he pull up from 27.
Yep.
But you just look at the coach. Hey, Doc, hey, it's his night tonight. The concern for them is going to be defensively. I still don't believe they have enough defensive guys because, as you mentioned, somebody's going to have to deal with Yoke. Somebody's going to have to deal with Book and KD. Somebody
was trying to deal with Embiid last night and couldn't.
No. That's not what Dwight Powell thing is. That's not what he is. Because, Skip, you look at it, Christian Woods, and he didn't have the greatest game, but we know he can give you 20, 30. And when you talk about those two other guys, Luka and Kyrie, Skip, offensively, they're going to cause you some problems. But I believe where they're going to have a struggle is on the defensive end because we saw them have a 27-point lead on Sunday, lose that game, had a 25-point lead, and in a matter of minutes, it was down to 6. And then Kyrie and Luka take the game over, and they end the run, they end the game. But I had no doubt that this thing could work offensively. Can they win a championship? I don't believe they can.
Okay, my turn. First of all, we need some context about what happened last night in Dallas, Texas. The Philadelphia 76ers had just gone to Miami the night before and turned the tables on the Heat, whom they didn't take seriously in Philadelphia 2 nights earlier, and they got embarrassed at home.
Right.
And then Joel Embiid took the night off because he needs to not play back-to-back. So they said, well, let's save Joel for at Dallas.
Right.
And his teammates rose and shone at Miami and humiliated and annihilated the Heat on their home floor without Joel Embiid.
Correct.
So last night, it looked to me like the Sixers, especially on the defensive end, were just lifeless and flat and spent because they're playing a road back-to-back.
Okay.
Joel Embiid did play last night. I thought they should have featured him even more than they did. What did he wind up with? 13 of 21 shots. I thought you could have fed the beast on this one and given him 30 shots because they just couldn't stop him. I mean, 13 out of 21 for 35 points. But here is the point. The Dallas Mavericks shot the lights out, as they are wont to do at home. See your Lakers on Christmas Day. Do you remember what happened in the third quarter of that game?
You gave 51.
You gave up 51 points. 51 points is the most anybody scored in any quarter of any game this year.
Right.
Well, here we went again. It wasn't 51, but it was 39 in the fourth quarter. And all of a sudden, with 3:43 left in the third quarter, they have leaped out to a 25-point lead. And who is the originator of the classic NBA line about what it means? It's a make or miss league. Who said that first? It's the coach of the Philadelphia 76ers, Doc Rivers.
Yes.
And he said after the game, the guy who says it's a make or miss league he said, it seemed like everybody they passed it to made the shot, meaning whoever Maverick brought the ball up the floor and passed it one time, whoever caught it, shot it, and it went in, right?
Yep.
Because They tied their all-time franchise high with 25 three-point shots. They made, what was it, 25 of 48. That's 52%. 52%.
Right.
Shannon Sharpe, I'm here to tell you, if the Dallas Mavericks from this moment on are going to make 52% of their threes every game, they will win the NBA championship because they won't make 52%.
Well, you need to make enough of them, Skip.
Okay, but 25 is it's hard to overcome. And yet, I got to give the highest props, the highest respect to Luka. He is bending over backward to make this thing work. He is trying his guts out to make this thing work, almost to a fault to me. So what happened last night? Would you believe in the first 4 games they had played together that Luka had assisted to Kyrie only 3 times in 4 games? Only 3 times had Luka passed to Kyrie and he had made a shot.
Right.
Well, last night, that happened. Let's do this. He had 12 assists, and 8 of his 12 assists were Kyrie buckets.
Yeah.
Because Kyrie had a hot hand. The first 6 assists that Luka had last night were to Kyrie.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he made, what is it, 6 of 8 threes. What happened the previous game? He was 1 for 8.
Yes.
Okay. It's make or it's miss.
Yes.
Kyrie, you know and I know, Kyrie can run pretty hot and cold.
Oh, yeah.
He like Devin Booker to me is a much more consistent jump shot, or certainly Kevin Durant is in another league. But Kyrie's a little more hot and cold, especially from 3, as just about everybody is outside of Steph and sometimes, although Dame can go pretty cold too.
Yeah.
They all can. It's a hard shot, man. It's far.
You shoot from 25 feet.
Okay, I got it. All right. So Luka is just here.
Right.
And they end up with 22 shots apiece. But what happened in the fourth quarter? Well, here we went again. Luka took only 3 shots in the fourth quarter. It's like he's saying, they brought you in here to be our closer. Now you close it. So he took 3 shots. Kyrie took 6 shots in the fourth quarter. So what's our overall now? What have I been telling you? What's the stat? Fourth quarter. So now they've played how many games? They've played 6 games together. They're 2-4 in those 6 games. In those 6 fourth quarters plus the 1 overtime against Sacramento, would you believe that Kyrie has now attempted 49 shots in the fourth quarter? 49 shots to 16 for Luka. Think about that. 49 times Kyrie has taken fourth quarter shots to only 16 for the guy who is leading the league in scoring. What is going on there? I'm shocked, I'm amazed, but I'm impressed with Luka because he's just saying, you do it. Right. You go. Well, okay, so now to your point that you were making, what happened after they got their 25-point lead? Nothing great happened because Philadelphia proceeded to go on a 44-24 run. They lost by 20 points over a stretch that ended with an Embiid putback. Yeah. And all of a sudden you look up and you say, wait a second. It's a 5-point game.
Yes.
And then who goes down? Was it Kleber or Powell? One of them, I think it's Dwight Powell, missed the 2 free throws. And all of a sudden we come back and I'll just show you the play. Maxey's out of his mind. He scored 17 in the fourth. Joel had 8 in the fourth. But Maxey just said, I'll just take this. I'll just take this. And it was a little bit of a 4-shot up and under. But he'd been making those. Right. He'd been making them all of the fourth quarter. If that goes in, it's down to 3 with 12 seconds left. And stranger things have happened in NBA games, as you well know.
Yes.
But my point to you is they make tied the franchise record 25 threes, obviously by far the most they've made this year in a game. And that happened. You got in some trouble. You were being threatened by the Philadelphia 76ers playing back-to-back on the road.
Because, Skip, you allowed the Sixers to shoot 58% from the floor. They shot 44%. Okay. They shot 44% from the 3. So that's your thing. Think about it, Skip. They shot 55% from the floor. The Mavericks did. They shot 52% from the 3, and you only won by 7. And you tied your franchise record with made threes. It's
scary, man.
Yeah, when you let the team shoot 58%.
I know it's scary.
They're never going to be out of the game.
To your point, and you made this point from the start. They play little to no defense. None. And Luka said after the game, I almost feel like he's toying with this situation. I don't think he loves playing with Kyrie, although he says he does. But he's deferring to a fault to him because he could score the basketball.
Yeah.
And it's tricky because they don't look the same, but they do exactly the same thing. They need to go solo. But if Luka is saying constantly, even though in the end you look at the box score and you say, well, they both took 22 shots.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That'll work. And if you both go over 40 for the first time in Dallas Mavericks history, I covered the Mavericks from their inception for about the first, whatever it was, 10 years. But for two players to go over 40 is spectacular.
Yeah.
It's historic. And yet, to your point, even Luka said after the game, hey, we got no problem on offense, but we got to start to lock down on the defensive end because they don't do anything on the defensive end. Okay?
But Skip, Kyrie is not a defender. Luka's not a defender. Powell is not a defender. You look at the guys that they have, they're not defenders. They're their best perimeter defender, they traded away. I mean, and that's Finney Smith. But if you look at Josh Green, none of these guys are known for defense. They said, Kleber's back. Man, what's Kleber going to do with Joel Embiid? What's he going to do, Skip, with Jokic? They're not going to do anything to those guys, but they're going to have to sometimes, you're going to have to lock down somebody.
Yep.
Because everybody in the West, Sacramento can get up and down.
Okay. And here's the weirdest X factor to all this. It's now become Luka, Kyrie, Kyrie, Luka, Luka, Kyrie, Kyrie, Luka, and it's become a two-man team. And I think Christian Wood is really good.
Yes.
And do you remember pre-Kyrie trade?
Yeah.
Christian Wood was spectacular.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a
like
force.
he was like a double-double guy. He was like 17 and 10, I think.
Every night. All of a sudden, since Kyrie walked in the door, 6'2" Kyrie, how tall is Christian Wood? Is he 7 feet?
Probably 6'10" at least.
Yeah, he's 6'11". I think he's up there.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, he got doghouse. He fell. It's almost like he fell completely. Like last night, he managed 14 minutes. He was 3 of 7. But he used to be a force. He used to be the second best player on the team, and now he's an afterthought. Well, it's almost like what happened when Westbrook walked in the door, and Terrence Mann was a starter and an igniter for them, and all of a sudden he's an afterthought.
And he ignited it last night. He tried to, offensive rebound after offensive rebound, tip. He hustle play. But Skip, the thing is, when Kyrie got there, you got another guy that's a volume shooter. So he's going to take where Luka was taking his normal customary shots, and Christian Wood was next in line to take the second most shots.
He was.
Now that's Kyrie.
Yep.
And so you figured something. He's next in line to take probably 12, 13 shots. Kyrie's taking 22. So now his number is going to get even reduced more than that. His minutes are going to get reduced more than that. There's not a whole lot of guys that's going to be scoring 20 points in 14 minutes, Gil.
No, I agree. Luka is doing his damnedest to make this a co-project where he's saying, I'm gonna share shots with you, but in the fourth quarter, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna go out of my way to make sure that you get at least twice as many shots.
Well, you know, Kyrie is leading in fourth quarter scoring.
All right. And well, he should be leading the Mavericks because he's taking.
No, he's leading the entire NBA.
Okay. Well, that's what they're telling Luka, I guess, is it's his time, it's his turn, and we just did the last game where Kyrie missed the three to win the game.
Right.
And the play by Jason Kidd was called clearly for Kyrie, who was at that point 1 of 8 from 3.
But you look at him last night, but it just goes to show you he had 11 points last night in the fourth quarter. He can get as hot as anybody. I mean, and if he gets it going from 3, you're really at his mercy. Because if you hug up on him, he's going to go by you. And he's going to, because he had, Skip, you see the finger roll he had early in the game last night, how he went through him, he cuffed the ball, and then just like, finger rolled it like it's so effortless. He makes it look, he has one of the most beautiful games that you've ever witnessed as far as his package of dribbling the ball.
Totally agree.
He's like, oh my goodness, that's entertaining for me. But Skip, I never had a question or not. When you have 2 great offensive players that can put the ball in the basket like these guys can, I'm not worried about offensively, but who they gonna stop? That's the question. Who they gonna stop? And the thing is, Luka knows they don't play any defense. Skip, the other team shot 58% from the floor.
I'm going to give you this. On their run all the way to a 25-point lead, there's no more exciting duo to watch. There's no more sensational act to watch than these two when they are feeding off each other and they get in a your turn, my turn rhythm.
Yes.
When it gets going, it is. I just sat back and said, my God.
Yeah. It's kind of like last night when in the fourth quarter, Kyrie comes down, hits a 1-on-3 three-pointer, and then Luka comes down the next play and does the exact same thing from a little further on the corner.
Yep.
I was like, what you going to do with that?
Right. And then all of a sudden, Reggie Bullock can just flat out fill it up. And he makes 5 of 10 threes. And it seemed like every time I looked up, when they got tired, when their arms got tired of shooting those two, they'd say, well, maybe it's Reggie. Maybe you can take a turn here. And he'd rip one.
He did. But, Skip, at the end of the day, you're going to have to, Book and KD, somebody's going to have to guard those guys. You're going to have to go through somebody that has skilled offensive players. If you let KD and Book shoot, you let the Suns shoot 58%, they're going to blow you out the bed. You let the Nuggets shoot 58%, you let the Sacramento shoot 58%. With the way those young guys can get up and down, they'll score another 160, 170 points on you.
They will. When I watch KD and Book, even the other night at Charlotte, it's so smooth and effortless that it's not nearly as sensational as this act can be, because it just happens in such rhythm. It's so pure. It looks so that they make it look simple. Because
KD and Book, Skip, are not dribblers with the basketball. KD 1, 2, 3 dribbles, pull up, turn around, one leg fade away, boom. Book 1, 2 dribbles, pull up. Kyrie,
there's no trick shooting.
Yeah, Luka's going to back you down, going to step back. So it's different. It's visibly different to your eyes because they play different styles of different brands of basketball.
Yeah.
But the one thing all 4 guys can do, can put it in the basket. But, man, Skip, can anybody get as hot as Kyrie and Luka?
No. And Luka, half the time he dribbles in the lane, and I say, they got him this time. He's stymied. He's got nowhere to go. And all of a sudden, he figures out some way to snake up underneath, and he's out of rhythm, and he just sort of, he's in the air, and he's not even a jumper.
Yeah.
And he makes up a shot on the fly, and he gets it off.
He done split 2 defenders and laid it up in the basket.
And it's an and one.
Yeah.
What?
Or he gets to the basket, Skip, they're like, oh, they got him. And then he kicks to the Bullock in the corner. Or he kicks to somebody in the corner. It's like, they're like, hey, Coach, I don't know. We had him. We had him.
Okay, well, they got me, as in they got me by the eyeballs, as in I'm going to be watching every single dribble. And before Kyrie got there, I could take or leave them.
Right.
They were, Luka's fun to watch.
Yes.
But now, this is a floor show. And yet, in the end, when I say it won't work, well, to your first question, I just think they're going to have a hard time closing games because they've now played, of their 6 games, they blew out San Antonio, and it looked like they were blowing out Philly, and then they didn't.
Right.
So
They was blowing out the Lakers.
They were blowing out the Lakers, and then they didn't. So I'm still not sure about the closing because everything has fallen on Kyrie's shoulders to be hot in the fourth quarter.
Right.
He needs to make 6 out of 8 threes. As he said, Luka had already... He started the party. I joined the party last night.
Right.
Well, are you going to join it every night? Because you better.
Skip, but to your point, the Mavericks allowed Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and James Harden to go 33 of 54. 13 of 21, 12 of 21, 8 of 12. 35, 29, 27. Okay, you let a team have 3 guys with 27 or more points in the playoffs and see what it gets you.
It'll get you home.
Exactly. That's exactly what it'll get you. And you allow him to shoot that kind of percentage. James Harden was 8 of 12. The problem is he didn't shoot enough shots. He was 5 of 7 from 3.
Good point. That's why on the Maxi play I showed you, I wanted somebody to shoot a 3 because if you drain a quick 3, now they're really starting to sweat.
They're really up against it, yep.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.